quick question for you.
Okay.
If you were to run...
No, that's too long already, Seán. That was a quick question.
Slightly longer questions. It's got a quick answer for you. If you were to pick one celebrity to run with, who'd you pick?
One celebrity to run with?
Yeah.
I'd have to pick The Rock.
This is my point. So I agree with you. Because here's the thing, right?
I would
so we
feel
have
like I could outdo that man, and it would just be brilliant.
Just to be better than him in something.
Yeah. Just to
better
look him
than
in the
Dwayne
eye.
Johnson in one thing.
Just to look him in the eye, slap him in the face, and be able to run away, and him not be able to catch me would be amazing.
I think he'd drop me the people's elbow. But that might be a weird. That might be a weird question. But we put that in. What celebrity would like to train with? We put that in at the end of the 6-week challenge, which is starting tomorrow. So, what we did was we have a form up on our Facebook and Instagram and all the rest, and we have all these hidden questions so we could tailorize the running towards what people's goals are and stuff like that. And the very end is, what celebrity would you like to train with? I was like, that seems like a thrown away question, but I know if someone answers with The Rock for training, I'm like, okay, I know how they train already. That gives you the idea. When they're in the gym, they want to go. They want to, clang and bang, hit the weights hard. And you're like, I know what I'm dealing with. I could tailor towards that. We've loads of different answers, but one answer we genuinely got was Graham Norton. I was like,
I remember this.
What? And I was like, well, why Graham Norton? And she says to me, she goes, well, he'd be very funny to run with. And I reckon he'd be slow, so I'd be faster than him. I was like, that's absolutely brilliant. You're great about it yourself, and you get a kick out of it because he's a funny guy. I was like,
we get some great ones.
I like your answer for The Rock too, though. The one thing you might be able to beat him at.
Yeah, he has all his money, he's all his muscle, but let's go run a half marathon there, Dwayne.
Yeah, fair enough. That's one way. Although I don't feel like I'd beat him right now because I'm dead dog tired because we're planning that stuff all day. And don't worry, it's not going to be an entire plug for the 6-week challenge or like that. But we've been planning that all day in the apps and stuff like that. And by the time we're recording now, it's 10:15 on a Sunday night, and it's 15 minutes away from my bedtime. I'm not going to lie. I'm usually up most mornings at half 5, not by choice. By work, it just has to be done. So I'm pretty much past for bedtime. And Eric, you're pretty tired too right now, but it looks of things. No offense, you look like shit.
Oh, thanks very much. I can always rely on you for an old compliment or two. You wouldn't want to have any feelings doing any of these shows.
No, definitely not.
So come on, let's get this show on the road then, Seán.
Let's hit the intro music.
Hit the intro. Let's do it.
So, Eric, my man, Easy E, how you getting on?
I'm actually fucked, Seán. I didn't want to say it, but we're Irish. It's an explanation. Swearing is a way of expressing how we feel. When I was in the States, they just couldn't understand this. Why do you swear so much? It's like, what? It just explains exactly how you feel. It's Sunday night.
Doesn't Billy Colley have a skit on it where he's just like, the F word is like, it's just a beautiful word because it can mean anything depending on the context and stuff you put behind it. I'm not going to attempt to imitate it right now because I will not do Billy Connolly justice. Just look it up. You can probably Billy Connolly.
If you're sitting at home listening to this, just describe how you feel with the F word. Are you effing great? Are you effing effed? Like it just does everything.
It's a fantastic word.
Last night I was watching this. Oh, did you see the game last night? Great, wasn't it? And like it's so good. Anyway. I'm not great. I'm absolutely goose. But no, I am. Fortunately, I was told I had to get the vaccine because of a role I'm taking now with the HSE. So yeah, it's wiped me out. I'm not gonna lie. It's didn't get any fevers or anything. I know a lot of people are, but yeah, it's just feeling the tiredness. It's a little bit of a funny one. That with changing work schedules and stuff. It's yeah, so I went for a jog today, and I got about 10 minutes in, and I just said no. I think I'm going to give myself a couple of days. Nothing about it felt good. So yeah, I got on Friday. I didn't feel great Saturday, and today not feeling good. So I'm just going to give myself a couple of days. I'm not going to because I just feel guilty. I just like I should be training, but no, I'm gonna just give myself a couple of days and pick it up, mate. We'll try again tomorrow and see how, because I don't like missing a Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll try again tomorrow. But yeah, so feeling the tiredness. Yeah, feeling the tiredness.
Jeez, I never took you to be a private school teacher. Controversial. Jeez, we're getting political over here now. It's unlike us. We must be getting brave doing this podcast now for nearly a year and a half this stage.
We are getting very brave. We should tag the Beacon Hospital in this podcast. That would be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, as if I think they've got enough
controversial. It is controversial. In fact, I kind of feel bad as well. You know, me being a younger person, fit, healthy, getting a vaccine. You know, when there is so many people, but you know, I don't really have a choice when I'm told I have to get it. You know, like it's very different, but it's controversial anyway. But
well, at least I know now that you know microchips or anything into you, you feel good and all the rest. I know you'd feel it going in.
Yeah, but again, whenever we don't have a guest, we like to talk about these lulls, and it's really. I always find it nice. People might get a little bit bored to listen to us, but I always find when we hit a lull, let's talk about it, because most times when people are training, like I follow people like the Fashion Jogger and all these, and they just seem to never get hurt. But then I'm kind of noticing, I was like, I recognize that run. That's another video from a run they've done 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And that's a run, you know, like, and Instagram is a great place. And it's never a bad day on Instagram. It's never a bad day here. And that's why we're having a bit of a lull now, because people who are going through training, people who are training with us, and we see it with our clients, it's peaks and troughs. They get about 4 weeks, motivation's there, we hit the troughs. We don't see them working out for a day or two. And we're like, are you still there? Come on, we need to keep you going. And one of the reasons we've seen is people who are getting into running. And a lot of people, we've started a 6-week challenge. We said, we're not going to keep plugging, but when people are starting something, they tend to be starting from new. And one of the common complaints from everyone who gets starting into running is we try and do too much, too quick. And what do we get, Seán?
Shin splints.
Shin splints.
We do indeed. And yeah, I want to go back to that in a second. I'm the exact same. I was in a lull the past week, went back in now, but shin splints is one of those common things where, and it's something where we always struggle with any kind of injury. It's like, okay, the point of the injury is the shin. Okay, I need to ice my shins. I need to stretch my shins. How the hell do you stretch your shins? But there is actually a way to do it, and we have it in our program. I think we did a video on it this week on Instagram. It was one of them anyway, where if you're on your knees and your toes are pointing towards the ground, your toes are pointing away from you, and you lean back, and you're going to feel a stretch in your quads, but you also will feel it in the shins, especially try and push your foot through the floor. You feel a stretch there. But the problem arises when you're like, okay, the shins are seem to be a problem because that's where the pain is. But the shins, because you're feeling it there, it doesn't mean that's necessarily a source of the problem. Basically, we work on your ankle mobility, because your ankle mobility could be a knock-on effect affecting your shins. It could be your calf tightness as in the way. Like I was running today, my calves were in bits, and I'm like, what's going on here? And maybe it's something to do with my calves. And I always talk about calves because that's the prime example that. Just because my calves are sore or tight doesn't mean they're the source of the problem. So the shins, it could be because the calves are tight, and that's causing different angles. It's causing the way we hit the ground a lot differently. And a lot of the cases could be because of your glutes. Like I keep preaching get a mini band because it's the easiest way to train your glutes, like doing squats, constantly having to push your knees out to fight against that resistance. The mini band is training your glutes a different way to what people normally do with squats. Is just up and down, not a bother to them. They're not properly tense in their muscle groups, where you can't really cheat it if you've got a good, strong mini band. Not one of those Mickey Mouse ones. I did, long story short in this one, I bought a bunch of, actually it's a long story told the right way. I bought a bunch of mini bands for my boot camp. I was like, I'm just going to tell the whole story. Anyway, I bought a bunch of mini bands for them. And this was back when we got through the first lockdown. I was like, you know what? If something like this happens again, I want people to train at home with the mini bands, the kettlebells and all the rest, and resistance bands, because, 3 months of doing just bodyweight exercises, I was getting that pain in my whatever. We've cursed enough in this show so far. So I was like, right, get the mini bands in, get the resistance bands in. I got them in, and I think they're medium strength. And I was like, right, I'm going to crease them now. I hadn't tried them before myself, by trying the heavier strength ones. So I was like, right, throw the mini band on. We start doing crab walks, ladder walks, squats and stuff like that. 4 or 5 minutes, like, how you feeling? Like, grand. I was like, crap. So I had to go buy another bag and get the heavier strength. I was like, so like 3-4 weeks later, they arrived, and they all walked into the hall. We had everyone spaced out 2 meters. They had a designated spot. So when they walked the hall, they saw like these heavier green bands. Like, what's these green bands for? I was like, right, The other ones you have, get rid of them, throw them on. We did the exact same routine, and like 2 minutes into it, like one girl like literally just shout, "Me arse, Seán." I was like, bang, you're feeling in the right spot. This is exactly what we're talking about here. And we're good to go. So you need to keep your eye. What's that?
No, it is. It is one of those things as well. Like, you know, we all think these apps, squat challenge, and do 100 squats and do 200 squats, and we're going to do 300 in 30 days. But you can actually do a far greater workout with 10 really good squats with a resistance band.
Yeah.
And the benefits it has, it's just huge. It carries on into your running.
You could do any exercise 100 different ways. Like one of the other things we did recently, I recorded, was calf raises. And you have your toes against your toes in a step and your heels hanging off. You could do calf raises for a half hour, while watching an episode of The Office or something like that, and not feel it too much. But if you did 10 of them, where you slowly lower your heel for 4 seconds and you slowly raise up for 2 seconds up in your toes and you slowly lower and you're concentrating the calves, you'll get to 2 or 3 and you're like, ooh, I feel the burn there. I feel something happen there. The muscles are working. Something's switching on there, and it's just basically slowing down and doing it right. And speaking of slowing down, you're talking about there about lulls and stuff. I've been in a lull since I went for that 5K attempt and I messed it up, and I realized, like, me and you had a conversation afterwards, and my pace is all off. And I was like, I was going to go for it again. It's like, you know what? I haven't built the right way. So I went out today to do a 10K run. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get the MyZone belt on, watch my heart rate. Because when I do my heart rate doing my runs, I'm up into the 80, 90%. For those of you that have a MyZone belt out there, it's in the yellow and the red zones at the max 4 points per minute. And it's like high intensity. Now, if I train in general, I'll be training hard, doing split squats and all these other things that bring people to yellow and red. I won't touch that. I'll be in the green. But I'm running 30 seconds, I'm up in that yellow. And I realized I'm training the wrong zones there. If to put it in the zone training, the heart rate training you talked before, I'm up, zone 4, zone 5, when I should be slower down towards the tree. And I'm like, and we talk about this all the time. We talk about don't compare yourself to other people on Strava. But I do. I see people doing a 10K in a certain time. Like, you know what? I could do a 10K in that time. And I go out there and beat it. But I'm training the wrong zones. I'm starting off fast. And like we were talking about it the other day, you're like, someone did a 30K, like doing 30K, 40K runs, and great. But watch the drops in the kilometers from like the 5-6 kilometers, and they're at a certain pace, and watch how it drops so much. It's good for a race day because you're trying to go as hard as you can. But if you're trying to train for that, it's like the distance, like you're getting like a, 4 or 5 minute kilometers. Next thing you know, it's 6 and 7 near the end. It's like, what are you training for here? What's going on? All you're doing is just burning yourself out so that the next couple of sessions are going to be twice as hard. Whereas if you could just go a steady pace through it, and that's why I struggle. Even my intervals, I start off like a hot snot, and that's why I failed the 5K, because I was like, oh, I'm doing all right. It's a good pace. I'm like, oh, I checked the watch. I'm at 3:30. I'm like, I'm in a bad way. This is too early to be anywhere near this. I shouldn't even get there at the end. And because of that, I was like, when I do my intervals, I start off fast, but by the time I get to 1:30, when I forgot that 4 minute pace, that 400 meters, I'm practically drained. I can't go another 50 meters, and the pace, like the watch will only tell me overall, 1:30, 1:35 for that 400 meters. What it won't tell me, because it's such a short distance, is I was probably running at 3:30, a 3:20 pace even for the first 10 seconds. Somewhere near a 4 near the middle. I'm probably near a 5 at the end, but it all balances out that it was okay. And I'm just not training the right systems to do that right. So like you said, for like the entire series of this podcast, go slow to go fast. And Instagram is always rosy, but when you delve into it, you see the flaws like that. Yeah, I don't know if there was a question at the end of that, by the way. I kind of just pushed the spot.
Yeah, no, we did talk about it, and go back to your point in terms of like when you're doing a race, when you're doing something for time, your body, if you look, actually a little point, if anyone is going out to do their best time, before you take off on your very first step, have a look at what your heart rate is. Have you ever noticed it before you even start?
I don't know as I felt it. I feel it before the marathon. I'm like, my heart rate has to be going up.
Yeah. Even when my body, like I was going to do a quick 5K, and I just had a look down at my watch. My heart rate was up in the 90s and trending upwards just as I was walking out my front door, because my body was getting ready, because I had already told myself we're going fast. The heart rate was up. The first few steps were quick, and I have to keep reminding myself. I call it settling, and anyone that I train with, we're trying to get them to settle with your breathing, settle at a pace that's a little bit slower than where you want to be. Some go out quicker than where they want to be. I admire them. Can't do it. I burn myself out. Try and settle at a slower place where I need to be. Let the heart rate, let the breathing settle in for the first kilometre, and then we need to start picking away, using what we have left then for the 5K. And some can do it from the get-go. They'll start at 3:45, hold 3:45. For me, starting that quick burns me out because I'm already excited, and the first K, everything is into it. Whereas other days I've ran a 4:30 for 2 kilometers, and then I've been able to bring it back down to a 3:45 for the next 4. Whereas I'd struggle to run a 5K in that time. But whatever it is about the initial portion of the race, and I think you have the same, and that's where it comes into. Every runner is different, but I think me and you are kind of similar in that we have to kind of ease into it, and then the negative split, I suppose, if you were to look at it, we are always quicker in the second half. And we have to play to our strengths. And anyone who is listening and is running and is finding, I am screwed after the first 2K on a fast one. You need to have a look at your initial pacing. You need to check the ego and be willing to sacrifice the 20 seconds of your target time in the first kilometre and a half, and then start telling yourself to go faster. And you'll surprise yourself as you've settled into it. The heart rate's there with you, your breathing's there with you, and the pace just comes with you. Then it's something you definitely still need to work on.
Oh yeah, and like last year we did a 5K. I remember I was in the park, and I remember it was a real windy day or whatever. I'm not saying that as an excuse. I just remember it was.
Sounds like an excuse.
I was like, right, let's beat this. I got this, and heart rate was going, and I heard that. Keep on pushing. And then I was like, right, settling into a first 4:15, 4:20. I was telling myself that, but I didn't actually do it. I ran a 4:02 for the first. I still remember I was a 4:02 for the first kilometer. I was like, what the hell did I just do? And then it was just an upward battle of trying to manage the pace. And I couldn't settle. I was too far not burnt out at the first K, but just too far in to settle and pull back and get back. I was too far up to settle back down, basically. I was just too far gone. And then I did the 5K challenge again the following week, and that's where I have my current 5K PB of 21:55. I knew, the heart rate was going, was like, right, slow it down, build into it. And I even put up in the running group, and I had a few experienced runners say, you need to slow down. I was like, and there's no other way to say, I knew that, but I did appreciate what those guys are telling me as well, like slow down, build up into it, catch the second half. But that mind shift is hard until you actually do it. Because even now, I'm like, when you're fresh, try and get the time when you're fresh. And you shouldn't, but you're like, I could push a little bit further and get an extra 10 seconds off this, but then I don't have to get that 10 seconds the last 3K. It's like, yeah, but you have to burn yourself out to get that extra 10 seconds. Whereas if you're feeling okay towards the last little bit, you can make up some of that time towards a sprint finish, and you can keep going. Your body knows you're very close to the end, and get that last little bit before you eventually just collapse on the ground or fall into a ditch before you get there.
Yeah, and this has been a fantastic story about how you bought the resistance bands.
Long story, what can I say? Billy Connie there.
So the point is, like a quick 5K PB, like anything, it doesn't matter if it's an experienced runner or not, we all still have a habit of trying to take over the world in the first kilometer, the first day of training, the first week of training, the first day of a diet. It's something that we talk about, but because we're hitting this low now, and a lot of our clients have picked up a couple of injuries and stuff because they've been really motivated, really trying to do things. And we come back to our shin splints as well. It is something, and shin splints is a frustrating one. And I'm just bringing it up because we've had 4 or 5 people say, oh, my shins are sore. And they've just gotten into it. We're trying too much too quick. And the thing about the shin splints is the recovery method. If you search and you go to WebMD, it tells you have cancer. And then after that, it says rest. And it's really frustrating because you're like, I can't run because of shin splints. And I got shin splints from trying to run, to trying to lose weight, to trying to get fit. And that's why we're saying other stuff like the bands, the classes you do are great, Seán, because not to hype you up, I usually give you shit. So actually people will probably believe this is genuine. But in terms of building up your glutes, building up your single leg squats, your single leg strength, your ankle mobility, all of these things, and your shoes as well, the types of shoes, do they suit you correctly? Is there enough cushion there for you? You know, there's lots of questions that can be asked about the types of footwear you're using as well. All of these play a factor into why we have shin splints as well. And also it's the quantity we're doing that we're not quite ready for. If you do find yourself with shin splints, try and walk, obviously massage it out. I always tell people to massage out the shins and calves and up above the knee into the quads and hamstrings. Baby oil, when you're watching the TV, put it on. It'll be painful. It'll feel like bubbles along the shin, but just keep massaging it out nice and gently. You'll be able to add more force as time goes on. It's another method of trying to increase blood flow into and around the areas, loosen the muscles. It will help you get back quicker. Don't just stop. Try and walk a little bit. Try and increase your steps. Try and do upper body workouts. There's other stuff we can do to try and build it up as we're going. And that's one kind of message we've been given to a lot of our clients. We don't have to stop, because that's what the internet tells you to do. It tells you to rest until you feel comfortable again. And those who have then go out running 3 weeks later. And what happens? Shins are sore again. Exactly, because they haven't done anything in the meantime.
Yeah, never address the problem.
Exactly. And that's one thing. So if anyone is out there and starting to feel it in their shins and stuff, start looking at what could be causing the problem. Is it the glutes? Is it the ankles? Is it the shoes, the hamstrings, yoga? We can do an hour worth of yoga instead of going for the run. You know, we're still going to burn calories. We can do and work on our single leg exercises. And all of these are in the follow along classes that we're posting up. And if anyone is in the running group, it's a free running group. We've put up classes. You can follow the posts from previous and just have a look at some of the exercises that Seán has been putting up. But it's made a massive difference to me. I haven't, touch wood, had my knee injuries. I usually pick up the runner's knee. I haven't had my shins. I haven't had anything in a long, long time because I'm using a resistance band. And all I'm doing is crab walks, and I'm doing a few glute bridges, and I'm doing just little things, single leg squats for stability in the legs. And I have it. And I notice if I don't do it for a week or two, quite weak in the area. And I can see that my knee is starting to bend on a cycle, or, you know, like I haven't got the full authority in keeping my knee straight in a cycle. I'm like, something's not firing here for me to keep everything working. And I go back and I start doing all my exercise, because I know if I don't, it's only a matter of time before the pain comes. Yeah,
you went to a couple of physios before. One of them was said, your adductors too tight. You're like, hang on, the inside of my leg? Abductors, adductors, I keep mixing them up. But you're like, the inside of my leg, it's like, hang on, no, the knee's the problem. You're like, there is like, no, the inside of your leg, start loosening it out. And that's where you get the massage ball in there, or you get the barbell in there. The barbell, I think I've talked about it before in the podcast. I did a video years ago on it, and I was like, right, let's try this out. I literally just placed the barbell and rolled it a little bit. I was like, oh my God, the pain. Yeah. There was no weight in the barbell. The barbell's on the ground. I just leaned over my leg and just rolled a little bit. I'm like, my God, that hurt. So like, and that pulling in was causing your knee alignment there. And once you sorted that out, it was all with the exercise and straightening up the glutes. That's where you started to get back into it again. But had you, like, you wouldn't have known that if you went to the physio, and when you looked online, it said you had cancer. So what could you do? And then once you got that done, you're like, okay, now I know what the problem is. Now I can work forward from there, rather than just icing up the knee for 3 weeks and going back out again. Because if you ice the knee for 3 weeks, guess what? Still tight. The inside of the leg still tight. You gotta keep going from there.
Yeah, it is something like that. It's tough. And it's frustrating. And that's why you see a lot of posts from runners and they're like, that first run injury free and it's a celebration and stuff. But the suffering doesn't have to go on that long. I found my problem. I went straight to this guy that I know, brilliant. And within a week, I was back on my marathon training program, injury free, because I was at the source of the problem. Some physio, look, every physio is different. They've all done the same education, but all physios take a different approach. I went to one and the answer was, you need to do more glute activation exercises. I'll take 60 to 80 euros off you and I'll see you again on Thursday. And I was like, okay, this is not what I need. Then I went to the one in Trusty was available then. So instead of going back, I went to the other one. He was like, no, this muscle here is too tight. Stuck needles into it, a few electrics into it, gave me a couple of exercises, bit of tape to help balance it all out. And I was back on the full marathon program in a week. So finding the source of the problem is the key. I think is the key message we're trying to get to. And it can be the cause for the shin splints. It can be the cause for the runner's knee. It's not just your training that's doing it.
Yeah, and that's what we have. We stress this in the programs. It's kind of like, it could be this, or this. This the different problems we're going to address, different joints, different areas around what the potential problem is. But at the end of the day, if you've got a very bad issue with this, stop doing the exercises. Let's not guess what the answer is. Let's go to someone who knows their shit and go to that physio and be like, what exactly is going on here? Because you try all these different things, and look, all those other things is going to help with your overall running mechanics, stuff like that. But you're going to save a lot of time and heartache if you just go straight to physio and like get the whatever they did with you, electrocute up your leg, whatever it is, doing all that and getting the fast track to getting back on track once again, rather than take the guesswork out. Now, if it's little niggles here or there or it bothers you, those exercises are fantastic. Throw them in, have the mini bands on, all the rest, build yourself back up from them. But if you're in chronic pain, if it's stopping you from running completely, save yourself the heartache, get a physio. Physios are still going now at the moment, are they? They are.
Yes, they are indeed. Yeah. Luckily, touch wood, I haven't needed one, but we'll see. We will see. Still a long road ahead.
Jeez. Well, on that note, it is getting late for you and your 2 vaccines and your dreams of beating the Rock in a 10K run.
That's not a dream. That's a reality. Come at me, Rock.
I still think he beat me. I think he just give me a look and run 10K the other way. That'd be the end of it. Just a little drop of the eyebrow. That's it.
Yeah, I know it has been good, and obviously we'll have our guests back next week. But we do like to take a break from the guests every now and again and just vent. Really, just talk about what average runners are talking about. And we have impressive people each week, but me and you, we don't call ourselves runners, I suppose. So hopefully it appeals to people with the problems we have, and we talk about some of the issues we have with taking on some of these challenges. But yeah, I think it's always a nice thing to change it up, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed listening to it, and we love the suggestions. We do get suggestions on topics to talk about, and hence why we're talking about shin splints and making shin splint videos. So it is brilliant. It's great to get people's feedback.
100%. I as much as we talk about it, I'm actually just a little bit annoyed that we picked this week during a low week for myself, just getting out twice this week where I couldn't talk about, like the last couple of weeks I've been doing pretty good, doing mad intervals and stuff like that, and getting PBs and all, doing that and feel great about it. But the 1 week start talking about this in the podcast, like, yeah, I did a 10K like 6-7 minutes slower than I normally did. So thanks to that, Eric. I feel great heading into next week.
Yeah, you should. It's Monday. Never miss a Monday. Stop feeling. Here's this word again. Stop feeling fucking sorry for yourself and just get it done.
It's well past my bedtime. Guys, I know it's a short episode. We will have guests back on the podcast next week, but genuinely though, we do want to say thank you very much for listening to the podcast this week and every week on the show. We really do appreciate it. It is pretty cool to hear from you guys and see the downloads go up and up and up each and every week. That is pretty cool on that part. Hopefully you guys do get involved in the running challenge that is starting, I suppose, today as you listen to this, Monday, March 29th. We are starting a running challenge today with different sample 5K and 10K plans in that group. Like Eric said, we will be doing those follow-on workouts every Tuesday and Thursday, just doing our part, and hopefully this time 6 weeks, hopefully restrictions have gone down and we can celebrate the 6 weeks. Maybe not in the beer garden just yet. Who knows what's around the corner? But at the same time, hopefully, there are literally brighter days ahead. The clocks have gone forward an hour. There are brighter evenings starting from tomorrow. That first Monday, try and get out there, get it done. We've more brighter hours of the day to get it done. So that's pretty much it for myself and Eric, guys. Thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the Any Given Runday Podcast. The two of us, take care.